Good morning. So before I get my day started today, I wanted to just take this time to make a quick video um, about being an adoptive mother. It seems that every time I post a video or I share a bit of my story um, through miscarriage and adoption, I always get a ton of emails or follow-up questions or Facebook inboxes and comments about it from other women of color, men of color, specifically Black men and women who want to adopt, want to know how to adopt, have been on the fence considering adoption. And they just have some questions. They want to know what the process was like, how much did it cost, what the situation is with the birth families, how the children progress as they get older. There's always a ton of questions, and the questions vary from person to person. And a lot of it is rooted in what their own personal experiences are or what they have heard surrounding adoption. So I wanted to just come to you quickly today to say, if you're on the fence, if you're thinking about adoption, particularly if you are a family of color, do it. Contact me if you need to. When I'm done with this, I will give you guys my email address so that you can send me any questions that you have, and do it. Get off the fence and jump right into it. Just think of how many children are right here in the United States, or let's even make it even a smaller region or a smaller space. Just think of how many children are right here in the Atlanta area that are looking for a home. They're not all babies, and a lot of them have been through some terrible or horrifying experiences. But does that make them any less worthy of having a forever family? Does that make them any less worthy of being loved? Absolutely not. And I'm not going to sit here and try to sugarcoat it. The adoption process, it's not an easy process. It can be overwhelming at times. The state gets all up in your business, but rightfully so, right? I can say rightfully so now that I've been through the process, but going through it, you feel like your privacy is being invaded. But they want to make sure that these children are going to a safe, loving, and a safe home, a loving home, and a home where they will be taken care of, and they won't be put back into the system, or they won't be abused, they won't be mistreated. So these steps are in place to ensure that these children who have already been through some of the worst experiences of their life are going into a safe space. So yeah, the adoption process is not easy, but it's so worth it. And the love that you guys that have been reaching out to me have to give is insurmountable. There's nothing more that these children actually need and want is other than that love and that warm home, that warm family, that welcoming family to come home to. There's a lot of questions out there when you start considering adoption, or when you start considering adoption. But there's a lot of questions out there about what do you do, and how long will it take for this child to call me mommy or daddy? Will this child call me mommy or daddy? If they're an infant when you adopt them, at what point should you tell them that they are adopted? What about the birth family? Is the birth family still going to want to be involved? Financially, how can you afford to bring another child into your home? And I'm going to say this. I was at a friend of mine's house just a couple of weeks ago, and I was supposed to bring the chicken, and I did bring the chicken, but I didn't bring enough. And she went into her freezer and she started pulling out some chicken to prepare some more chicken, and make sure that we had enough meat to feed all of the people that were coming for our family game night that we do every now and again. And I was like, I don't know if this is going to be enough chicken. Should I just go to the store real quick and grab some more? And she said, my grandmother always told me, if you have enough to feed one, you have enough to feed 20. And that really resonated with me because Just think, how many times has somebody popped up around dinner time and maybe you weren't expecting them or you didn't think they were going to want to eat and you made it happen. You put enough food on the table for everybody, everybody's belly got full and everybody went home happy, right? So think of the same thing with your child when you think your adopted child or the child you're considering adoption. Just think about that. Finances, of course, are a major consideration in adopting a child, having another child biologically, helping care for a family member's child who might not be able to do it. Finances, of course, is going to be a major consideration. But if you have enough to feed your 2 children or your 3 children, you're more than likely going to have enough to feed that one more child or to clothe that additional child. So don't let that be a deterrent when you consider consider adoption. And even depending on the type of adoption that you do, sometimes the state will offer assistance. Now, I won't get into the particulars here of that because it does not apply to every child, and I don't want you to think that you're automatically going to get money from the state once you adopt the child. But again, there are some instances in which you will get support, financial support, when you adopt a child that they consider hard to adopt, which are usually males, black and brown children, and usually over the age of 4. At least that was the case in another state. I don't know if that is the case. If that is the case here. But ask all the questions you have. Go to your local social services office and find out what their adoption program is. If you need to be a foster parent first, do you need a home study, which I'm pretty sure you will. You'll need to be fingerprinted. You'll need a background check. You'll need a criminal check. Just find out what you need to do and start the process. Get off the fence. There are so many children sitting out here waiting for parents, waiting for someone like you to love them. So get off that fence. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. My email address is hello at mamas, MAMAS, ninny, NINNIE, milk, MILK.com. Hello at mamasninnymilk.com. Mama's Ninny Milk is my blog where I share about my life as an adoptive mother, as a wife, as an entrepreneur, and as a homeschooler. So you can reach me through that email. You can read my blog. You can read my adoption story and my backstory to help you get some inspiration and or some understanding about this whole adoption process and the emotional state of it. There is a huge emotional component to adoption for the adoptive parents and also for the children. So reach out to me. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll answer as many as I can. And while this video is to really speak to the women who look like me, the families who look like me, it's really, for everybody. I would love to see more families of color adopt children of color, but if you have the love to give and that child is not of your race or not of your culture, do it anyway. I'd rather them be adopted by a loving family than to sit in a group home or be pushed from foster home to foster home and then be kicked out of the foster system once they age out and really have no one to turn to. So again, I just wanted to come to you guys really quick because I got a rash of emails this morning after I posted up the photo of my baby girl and I last night. And I figured instead of trying to reply to everybody individually today, I will eventually get around to replying to you. So please just be patient with me. You guys know I wear a lot of hats and I have a lot of things going on. But I wanted to do this video to really come to you and say, yes, do it. And yes, I will be here to help. And I'm proud of you for even considering it. And I love you and you're going to be blessed time and time again, hands down. All right, guys. Peace.